Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ms. Kelly, I want to come to you with my first question. I'm looking forward to introducing a bill that would reauthorize HIDA at an increased funding level. And in Tennessee, I've heard from so many of our law enforcement personnel how important this is. I want you just to speak for about 30 seconds. What would happen if we did not have this?
Thank you so much, Senator Blackburn, for your support and for the question. I think what we have heard persistently from, in particular, our state and local partners is that the HIDA program is essential for the coordination of federal, state, local task forces. We heard from the first panel how important it is for the federal government to engage with the partners, the 18,000 sheriff's departments and police departments across the nation who otherwise, without the framework and the structure of the HIDA program, may not be equipped to share information freely, to coordinate on these cases, and to make sure that we have a holistic, whole scope of government response to dismantling the criminal networks that are trafficking fentanyl from the southwest border all the way through the interior of the United States into every state and territory across the country.
I appreciate that you all talked about our borders and what is coming in shipping containers from China and what we are seeing in our ports. But in Tennessee, we've got the Mississippi River and the port in Memphis. And what I would like to hear from you is what we can do, how your agencies are working on these inland rivers. And I know the FBI put a memo out warning of increased China influence on the Mississippi River. So, Mr. Miller, I'm going to start with you and just go down the line. I'd like to hear what you all are doing when it comes to our inland waterways.
Thank you, Senator. So AMO has marine units in the Gulf. I would say the biggest impact in terms of our inland waterways is the support that we provide to state and local agencies in the area, to include task forces. We provide aerial surveillance with light enforcement helicopters with specific capabilities to track narcotic smugglers or any kind of trafficking that state and local agencies are working, and we provide greater officer safety during buy-bust operations or high-risk warrant operations.
Okay. Admiral?
Good afternoon, Senator. Ma'am, we work across the interagency with all our partners throughout Homeland, also state, local, federal, and tribal to get after a lot of these problems. The Coast Guard is a multi-mission service, so many of the same crew members who might be doing a search and rescue case one moment could be boarding a vessel that's coming in potentially with illegal narcotics. The ability to shift between missions is a critical capability of the Coast Guard, and that is fed by intelligence. The Coast Guard is a member of the intelligence community, and we work across the IC to help put our cutters and crews in places where we know the worst problems will be so that we can effectively respond.
Ms. Kelly?
I appreciate that my co-panelists have both mentioned information sharing. HIDA, as you know, is a key framework for sharing information from our federal partners down through our state and locals, who in many instances are the ones actually enforcing the drug laws, particularly in some of our more rural and remote areas.
Rear Admiral, I'd like to come to you on this. I think it is helpful that President Trump has identified the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And so as we look at dealing with these cartels, is there any further authority that the Coast Guard needs in order to apprehend and to work in this process with the IC?
Good afternoon, Senator. I'm very appreciative that the president has designated these cartels as terrorist organization. I think that sends a message that we as a government are deadly serious and are bringing all of our assets and resources to bear to get after this problem. I'd be happy to answer the question for the record with a list of additional authorities that we might be able to use to get
That
after
would
that.
be very helpful. That's the kind of information we need. My time's expired. Senator Cantwell, you're recognized.